You ever wonder why some websites pop up right on the first page of Google while others are just lost somewhere out there? Well, the secret is this thing called search engine optimization, or SEO for short. And today we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how it all works. So, picture this. You've spent all this time, maybe even weeks, building the perfect website. It looks incredible, it's slick, it works, but there's a huge problem. Crickets. Nobody's visiting. It's kind of like you've opened up a brand new, amazing store in the middle of nowhere. It's a really common feeling, and believe me, it's exactly the problem we're going to talk about solving today. The answer to that empty store problem, it's SEO. To put it simply, SEO is basically the process of making your website more attractive to search engines like Google. It's all about sending them the right signals, showing them that your pages are the absolute best, most relevant answer to what a person is searching for. And the whole point is to get that sweet, organic, meaning unpaid traffic. All right, so let's dive into part one, the problem of invisibility. We're going to start by really digging into this core challenge. Why does it feel like your site is invisible? Here's a really easy way to think about it. Imagine the entire internet is a gigantic library with literally billions of books. Your website? It's just one of those books on a shelf. Now, Google is the Super Librarian. So when someone walks up and asks for a book on a certain topic, how in the world does that librarian decide which book to recommend out of all those billions? Well, it's not random. That librarian has a whole system for figuring out which books are the most helpful, the most trustworthy. SEO? Well, SEO is how you make sure your book is the one that librarian hands over first. Okay, part two, what Google really wants. This right here is probably the most important idea you need to grasp about SEO. It's not about trying to trick some robot or outsmart an algorithm. It's actually about understanding what Google's main goal is. And that's it. That's the whole game, right there. Google's one and only mission is to make its users happy. And it does that by giving them exactly what they're looking for, fast. So when we're doing SEO, we're not really optimizing for Google. We're optimizing for the person on the other side of the screen. When you help Google complete its mission, you get rewarded with those higher rankings. It's a win-win. So how does Google figure out what's useful? Well, they have this really important framework they use called EEAT. It stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Basically, Google wants to see that you have real-world experience with what you're talking about, that you're an expert in your field, that others see you as an authority, and that your site is trustworthy and secure. Your whole job is to prove those four things. All right, part three, matching the searcher's intent. Now we're going to get practical. This is the first pillar of actually doing SEO, and you could argue it's the most important one. It's all about understanding something called search intent. Search intent sounds kind of technical, but it's just a fancy way of asking, what does this person really want? When someone types something into Google, they have a goal in mind. Are they trying to learn something? Are they trying to buy something? Or maybe they're just trying to find a specific website. Getting this right is absolutely everything. Let's look at a super clear example. If someone searches for best slow cooker recipes, they obviously want to learn. That's called informational intent. So what does Google show? Blog posts with lists of recipes. But if that same person just searches for a slow cooker, their intent changes completely. Now they're probably looking to buy one. That's transactional intent. So Google shows them shopping pages. If you create the wrong kind of content, like trying to sell a slow cooker to someone who just wants a recipe, you're just not going to rank. It really is that simple. And that's the big takeaway here. Before you even think about writing anything, you have to search for your topic on Google and see what's already on the first page. Are they blog posts, videos, product pages? Your job is to create the kind of content that users have already shown Google they want to see. Okay, part four, proving your trustworthiness. So you've created the right type of content that matches what people are looking for. What's next? Well, now you have to prove to Google that your content is credible. And this is where we need to talk about something called backlinks. So one of the original ways Google has always judged a site's credibility is through backlinks. A backlink is really simple. It's just a link from someone else's website pointing to your website. Back in the day, Google's founders basically saw these links as votes of confidence. Think about it. If another respected website is willing to send its visitors to your page, that's a pretty powerful signal that your stuff is valuable and trustworthy.
And you can see this play out all the time in real search results. The pages that are consistently sitting at the top for competitive searches almost always have more of these votes. They've earned links from other important and relevant sites in their industry, and that really helps solidify their spot at the top.
Which brings us to our last section, SEO, your best investment. This is a really crucial point about how you should think about all this work. It's so easy to look at SEO as just another marketing expense, but it's actually something very, very different. Just take a look at this comparison. With paid ads, the second you stop paying, your traffic flatlines. It goes to zero. With social media, you might get a huge spike if something goes viral, but that excitement dies down super fast. But SEO is different. Once you earn a top spot, the traffic you get is incredibly consistent, and it can even grow over time as your site becomes more authoritative. It's a truly sustainable way to get visitors.
And, here's the best part. Unlike those paid ads, all that consistent, targeted traffic you're getting from SEO is free. Yeah, you put in the work up front, but every single visitor who finds you through a search doesn't cost you a penny for that click. For any business, that is a massive, massive advantage.
So the real way to think about this is that SEO isn't an expense, it's an asset. A web page that ranks high on Google is like a piece of digital real estate that just gets more valuable over time. It's working for you 24/7, bringing in potential customers for years and years. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. With AI making it easier than ever for anyone to just churn out tons of content, the game is definitely changing. The real question you need to be asking yourself isn't just, how do I rank? It's, is my content actually worth finding? Are you creating something genuinely useful, something that shows real expertise, something that truly deserves to be at the top?